Okay, so you ready for me to go ahead?
Sure. Let me just say one word of introduction, Tara. For folks that are listening, this is the last in a series of webinars that CDO social media grantees have been doing to share what we have tried, what we have learned, some of the challenges. So you'll find the rest of the series on the National Service Learning Clearinghouse site. And today we are thrilled to be able to hear from the National Network for Youth. So go ahead, Tara.
Thank you. So my name is Tara James, and I am the project director for our Learn and Serve grant. Kayla Jackson, who is our vice president of programs, is also on, and she's been working on this project from the very beginning. I've been with the network for about a year now, so I'm a third-year person on the 1 to 3 year grant. And a big piece of what we have done with our sites has been helping to develop social media competence and knowledge both among the staff and the youth, and really trying to promote it as a very useful, inexpensive tool for working on service learning projects. We have, just as a little bit of background, we have had 12 sites in 6 states over the past 3 years who have been running service learning programs that are geared towards runaway and homeless youth. Runaway and homeless youth, or RHY, if I slip into jargon, that's what I'm referring to. Runaway and homeless youth are a highly transient population. They are one of the highest risk youth groups in the country, and facing a lot of challenges that make service learning projects a little more difficult. It's hard to keep kids engaged for more than maybe a 9-month period, which is generally the school year, obviously. But our programs have actually had really good experiences keeping youth involved for 9 months, some of them all the way up to 3 years. And for this population, that's pretty exceptional. Our main goals in using social media were to foster communication and collaboration both among the programs themselves, the adults and the youth in the programs, and then among the 12 different programs in the 6 different states. We also wanted to help the sub-grantees learn how to use social media to enhance what they were doing on the ground with their youth. So like one of the programs, Shelter Kids in Salt Lake City, Utah, was focused on I should go back and say all of our sub-grantees were focused on health issues that were particularly relevant to their youth. And the youth did all of the research, identifying what topic they wanted to address, and then decided how they wanted to address it. Salt Lake City in particular chose gang violence, dating violence, and a third one which is escaping me at the moment.
Bullying.
As their thank you. Yes. Thank you. Told you she's the brain in the deal. So they chose those 3 topics as their health issues that they wanted to focus on, and the youth were going into middle schools to do presentations to their peers, and then also working after school doing presentations at different community events. And they decided that they wanted to do PSAs, and so they teamed up with a local organization that taught the youth how to write, film, direct, act in the PSAs, and then they uploaded those to YouTube and started promoting them across the web. This past year, that was year 2, and in year 3, they took it to a whole new level and really started participating in a short film festival. And all of this was using online media. So as far as what we accomplished, we really did support the projects as they expanded through social networking. We've had reports that with this highly transient population, they're staying connected with kids using online social media like Facebook, MySpace, things like that, so that even if the youth are traveling between California or Mexico, Texas, wherever they happen to be, if their site in Oregon has a Facebook page, they're able to stay connected to that site, to the activities happening there, and to their friends there. And that really increases the social connections that these youth have, which is a huge protective factor for them. We also created Youth Space, which I had planned to actually go to this site and show it to you guys, but the way that my computer is acting, I'm a little afraid to do that. So is there a way that I can send out the link to Youth Space to everyone after the presentation, Larry? Larry there?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. You can type the link into the chat if you want to now, and people can go to the link. And yeah, we'll be able to send that out in an email afterwards as well.
Okay. So, except that there we go. Okay, so I will type that in there. So we created Youth Space as a specific website to connect youth that are in the Learn and Serve projects and to connect the adults to the youth and to each other so that they can post photos, they can post videos, they can talk about what's happening in their projects. It's both a social networking site and a project-specific site. And you'll see when you get on there that there is a specific page for them to post about their different projects that they're working on. And then our third accomplishment was getting the sub-grantees in these 6 different states connected to one another through Facebook, through Youth Space, so that they are providing support to each other in spite of the distances that they're separated by. Okay, so I just put up the... well, I just tried to put up. Let me try this again.
Brad's helping you out. Hero
Oh, thanks, Brad.
He's a good Vanna.
He is. Okay.
I'm not telling you the outfit, no. But I'm not sure actually that we have the rights to push to all participants. So maybe one of the panelists or owner needs to do that. I'm not seeing that by it from other folks. Can everybody see that?
I think I can post it.
Karen, Joy, Dee Dee, or any of you guys seeing the Youth Space?
No.
I can see it. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. The joys of technical glitches.
Yeah, but I still don't think it's available to everybody. It's http://youthspace.nn4youth.org. Youthspace.nn4youth.org. Sorry for the interruption.
3 times.
Right. Okay, so hopefully you can all get there. If not, you can go to nn4youth.org, and there's a big link to it on our homepage. Okay, so as far as our biggest lessons or ahas in experimenting with social media, aside from the challenges that everybody's experiencing right now, such as, the nonprofit sector is experiencing a lot of financial heartache, just trying to keep programs going, trying to keep staffing at adequate levels, things like that, which, that's kind of something that I think everybody has to deal with as they're working on this. We discovered that our youth were really experiencing social media in a completely different way from the adult staff and the organizations themselves specifically. a lot of the organizations were really wary about using social media, afraid of violating privacy of youth, sharing too much information, allowing inappropriate connections to happen, things like that. This is a population of youth that has been victimized many times over. And so safety and privacy are huge issues. On the other side of that, youth are already using MySpace and Facebook and Twittering and texting each other, texting their friends, keeping up with those things. So trying to bring agencies working with runaway and homeless youth sort of in line with what youth are already doing and what they expect to be able to do was a big challenge for us. So it wasn't only an issue of do the agencies have the technological ability, resources in order to use social media, but are they philosophically, pedagogically prepared to use social media? We also needed to kind of explore and work out how social networking, how social media really fit into the on-the-ground projects. Things like one of our subgrantees in Texas, the youth were focused on nutrition and obesity, and they were building community gardens. And so the youth were not only learning about good nutrition and how to create urban gardens, how to harvest, how to share the food with their community, but they were also learning about the issues of hunger and lack of resources in an urban setting. And so trying to figure out, okay, with youth that are really focused on kind of a farming project, how does social media fit in? And we actually got to see that in action this past January during the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. They used social media to really promote a community-wide service day, building new gardens, working on existing gardens, things like that. So it was a really nice enhancement to what they were doing. And they were actually able to see how social media could fit with what they were doing on the ground. And then the final aha for all of us is just how much time it can take to really utilize social media to the greatest extent. This is still a learning process for everyone. Trying to figure out who maintains who, how much access and leadership youth can and should have in maintaining and developing social media. It's kind of an ongoing process, and a couple of years from now, I think once more of the agencies have been working with us for a longer time and have kind of hit some of the stumbling blocks, it'll be clearer. Okay. Is everybody still awake and with me?
Yeah, that's great, Tara.
So opportunities for deepening youth engagement and service learning. This one actually, this took a lot of thought, and I kind of had fun thinking about sort of where we're planning to go as an organization, as well as where our subgrantees are planning to go. A lot of our subgrantees, because money is so tight right now, are really trying to find more ways that they can use social media to keep their programs going when other resources are disappearing. And as far as both what we're doing and what the subgrantees are doing, we're looking at ways that we can really engage youth in a leadership role to advocate for themselves and to create projects that are tied to their local community but coordinated with other projects that are happening nationally. and hopefully in the next year we'll be able to get some of those off the ground and really start putting them into practice. We're also continuing to expand our online community because so many of we have over 450, 500 members. Kayla, help me out here. Nationwide. Yeah. Nationwide. And they range from really, really tiny agencies up to larger agencies. So, a budget of $125,000 up to $7 million. So it's a really diverse group of people, adult allies, and runaway and homeless youth, all focused on the same basic issues, but haven't really had the opportunity or the resources to connect other than at conferences, which are fairly expensive to attend. So we're really working on using social media as a way to strengthen the relationships and increase communication and collaboration among all of the allies. And then we have, over the course of this grant, and we will continue to in the future, continue to share resources and strategies for promoting service learning for runaway and homeless youth. For this population in particular, service learning is a really strong model for addressing risk factors as well as building protective factors in the youth, strengthening social networks, increasing their connection to their community, increasing their knowledge about what are risky behaviors, what are healthy behaviors. All of these are things that are really great for helping youth feel that they're part of their community, that they can stay in school, that they can succeed in school, that they can contribute to their community, that they're a worthwhile member of their community, which are all things that are really important to us because for runaway and homeless youth to really thrive in the future, they need to be able to live in their community successfully. They need to be able to get a good education. Kind of the basic things that we take for granted when we are working with youth in a K through 12 environment generally that have other social supports, like a family, like churches, like a stable school system. So it's a big part of the reason that we really like service learning for runaway and homeless youth. So we will continue to share materials, to share ideas, to share professional development opportunities with our membership across the country through social media. I guess that means it's time for the next slide. So where do we imagine taking this experiment? And Kayla, I hope you'll jump in on this one too. Like I said, we're going to continue to expand and develop Youth Space and our other social media sites. We have a Facebook account and Twitter and Flickr and MySpace to continue to enhance our online community for RHY. And then we're really going to try and expand opportunities for youth-generated advocacy and leadership. We're exploring some ideas that we think might be kind of fun, like trying to come up with flash mobs. We do a Hill Day in Washington, D.C. every January, and so we're trying to figure out how we can kind of put a flash mob together to demonstrate the number of runaway and homeless youth in the country at the Capitol. During that event, and coordinating local days of service in January, September, November, which is National Homeless Month, Youth Homelessness Month, things like that. So the idea is to really take what we've been working on with these 12 projects and expanding it out to our membership as a whole.
Yeah, and incorporating it throughout all of our programs, our service learning piece, but also our health piece, our advocacy pieces, at the national level, but also the state and local level. So any opportunity to develop those communities top down and bottom up is really what we're looking to do at this point. I mean, this was a health program. We have quite a bit of health programming and work very closely with the CDC, so using this in that way as well. So to do some prevention work around other health conditions that impact youth. So.
Yeah. So that's kind of our general overview of where we've been, where we're going. Okay, please talk a bit about what a flash mob is and how you might use it. Okay. I'm sorry. Kayla's used to me talking in social media jargon. Yeah, okay. So a flash mob is a spontaneous gathering of people that's organized over the internet or through text messaging, through social media. And it actually started in Indonesia. It was kind of the first successful utilization of it. When the Indonesian people were protesting their government, the government instituted a crackdown, and nobody was able to gather in groups larger than, I think, 3. And so the people responded by text messaging each other, telling them where they were going to meet, and everybody would converge in a flash mob to protest. And then if they saw military or police coming, they would text message each other and they would disperse. And it's, so it started in this kind of radical political protest mode, and now it's becoming a way to do creative, fun events to really call attention to a particular issue. I don't know if anybody watches Oprah, but on her season premiere, they did a flash mob dance. So that it's, it can be a really fun event.
They use YouTube to teach participants how to do the dance so that when the Black Eyed Peas played, everybody in the audience was then able to do the dance that went along with the video. So that was a huge example. There were was it 20,000 people in the streets in Chicago in front of the stage? So that's an Oprah-sized example of how to do it. We would settle for, I don't know, something less than the big O, but, we could all shoot for the big O for that one.
Yeah. I didn't want to give you guys just a dark example. So you get the dark example and the light example. So let's see. So how many young people are registered on the site? Right now, I think we have about 120 registered on the site. And the monthly usage comes and goes. I mean, there are months that we have, I can't tell you the number of hits, but we'll say 15% using it. And then other months there are 95% using it. And we've noticed that it goes, it ebbs and flows according to what projects are happening. So this summer has been really quiet because a lot of the youth are in and out of their summer projects. As the school year picks up, we think that the site usage will pick up also. And up to this point, we've really been using the site for our Learn and Serve projects only. It's been open to everybody, but it's our Learn and Serve youth that we've been focusing on really marketing the site to. And that's a smaller population of youth. And so, kind of from here forward, we're going to be marketing it to our entire membership base and looking at ways that we can expand the site, tweak the site, make it responsive to what the youth and the agencies are wanting out of the site. We actually built it in Drupal. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with it. It's a site management open source software that allows us to be really flexible in how we use the site, and so we can literally redesign it from day to day. So, and our intention with that was because this is, and I know I've said it 10 million times, but it's a really transient population. Things change very rapidly, and so we wanted to be able to address that need. And this is a first for us. We're learning as we go. So, we've kind of taken it a little slow as far as developing the site, figuring out what the glitches were, and now we're ready to roll it out to all 500 agencies.
With potential to reach between 1.6 and 2.7 million young people. So it could get huge.
Yep. Any other questions?
Hi, you guys have done a great job here. Thank you very much.
Yay, virtual clap. Thank you so much.
I love that virtual clap. Well, thank you all for listening.
Yeah.